Lunch money time. Well, while she's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. Plina, how are you?
I'm great. Do I look like a farmer or like a painter today?
A painter. And you also have on a sailor shirt. Like you're
No,
sailing
that's not a
the deep
sailor.
blue sea.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Sherwin-Williams, go ahead.
Not Sherwin.
All right, let's go, Sherwin.
For real? Okay. Inflation. Do I need to say more? Barreled ahead at 8.3% in April from a year ago, remaining near 40-year highs.
Well, technically it didn't barrel ahead. So whoever wrote
barreled.
whoever wrote that article, Jeff
It
Cox over at
accelerated.
CNBC.
It accelerated.
Jeff Cox at CNBC, who's a fantastic
Okay, not
reporter.
to dox people.
Well, he wrote the article. I'm just saying. He probably is you could say it a different way. Instead of saying barreled ahead, instead it went from 8.5. It dropped to 8.3%. Now, why it dropped, we'll talk about in a second. But it's important to understand where this is coming from. Gasoline is up 43% over the last 12 months. Food at home is up 10.8%. That is completely unsustainable for the average American family. If you look at food outside of the home, it's up 7.2%. If you look at shelter, it's supposedly up 5%. New cars up 13%. Now, none of this matters. Literally, the number does not matter anymore. You know why? Because they're messing with the number. So let me explain three things that are going on right here. The first thing is they randomly came out and said, oh, we're switching up the calculation for new cars in the CPI. What do you mean? How are you manipulating the economic data and the calculations in the middle of the highest inflation in 40 years? I don't think they're doing that because they think that the number is going to become more accurate. They're probably doing it because they think the number will go down, which will make the overall basket seem cheaper, and therefore you get 8.3%. The second thing is that there's article after article after article that explains how national rents up about 20%, real estate prices up about 20%. If the national rent and real estate is up about 20%, how is it that the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that the shelter is only up 5%? I'm not Einstein, but if everything's up 20%, you can't then say 5%. It's undercounting everything. And so this 8.3% number, wrong. It's definitely in the teens. The question is just how bad is it? And so when you look at they're manipulating the data, they're manipulating the calculations, and they also are just pulling numbers out of their ass, essentially, you can say to yourself, inflation is bad. And at this point, the difference between 8.5, 8.3% doesn't really matter. So going back to our boy Jeff Cox, I actually would argue that although it went down, his sentiment of it's just continuing to persist, actually I would agree with that part of it. And so what you have to remember is it did go down, but what we are seeing here is double-digit real inflation. The average American is absolutely getting crushed. And yesterday, Joe Biden gave a speech, and it sounded, literally it was like South Park did it. He literally got up there and he said, this is my number one domestic priority. And the way that we're going to solve this, I swear to God, what I'm about to say, this is what he said. He's going to ask corporations not to price gouge. Inflation is a 40-year high, and we're going to just like, hey, Mr. Corporation, will you please not price gouge? That's insane. Then, as if that's not bad enough, on top of it, he said, oh, we're also going to tax corporations and the wealthiest Americans. Let me bring you guys back to Economics 101. If I increase your cost, taxes, then what are you going to do? You're going to increase your prices. If you increase your prices, that means the person on the other end who's buying your goods is going to pay a higher price. If they pay a higher price, that leads to inflation. So by taxing people more or taxing corporations more, you actually continue to perpetuate the problem. This is classic. Socialism is stupid and capitalism works. Get out of the market as a politician and a central bank and let the market work. Because you know what's going to happen?
It's going to be bad.
It's going to be bad as they intervene. But if you don't actually do anything, it's going to come down naturally. You know why it's going to come down naturally?
You think? But isn't that why they intervene? Because it's going to be terrifying if they just don't do anything?
We would not have 8.5% inflation in the official numbers if they never intervened in 2020. They created the problem. So,
Well-
have you ever heard it? Central bankers, they're firefighters who, or they're arsonists
Oh.
that start a fire and then show up and pretend to be firefighters. That's all they are. They created this problem,
It's-
and now we're like, oh, please save us, please save us. They're
Well-
not saving us.
If you've been watching Lunch Money since 2020, you'll remember when we talked about how like a lot of the things that they were doing were short-term solutions that in the long term would be painful.
Can I pat ourselves on the back?
What?
We nailed this one. Y'all can go back, check the receipts.
Yeah.
All the
There's
way
some-
from 2020, we called this out over and over and
Actually,
over and over
the
again.
one thing that I was wrong on that he was right on was what's his name? Andrew Cuomo? Yeah.
The real ones remember. The real ones remember.
I was like, he is not gonna be criminally charged. Are you crazy? And then
Y'all thought I was crazy when I said this dude definitely getting in
Okay,
trouble.
all right.
Probably
and he did.
criminally. And everyone's like, what do you mean? There's no way. I said, this dude is not a good dude. I called, sniffed out that one real quick.
Just in defense of my fellow friend, I guess,
Jeff Cox.
Jeff Cox.
He's actually a fan. He's probably one of my favorite
Well,
reporters.
this is what I want to say.
in economic
Inflation
data.
did barrel ahead at 8.3% in April from a year ago, it says.
To be honest, I'm kind of giving him a hard time
No,
just
it's
because
from a
barreled
year-
ahead is such a great headline.
And by the way, reporters typically don't write the headlines, so FYI. It's probably written by somebody else. Netflix could
Netflix.
launch streaming with ads even sooner than we expected.
Do you think
I
this is a
mean-
good idea?
I mean, from what sense? As a viewer or if I was working at Netflix?
Well, let me rewrite the headline. Netflix invents television.
No, Netflix sells out to pay its bills.
No, but that's what TV is, right? You're watching a
course.
stream and then they just put ads in the middle.
Yeah, but you can't do it. Like television's like live.
Yeah, but there's plenty of recorded content. You love Friends,
Yeah.
and Friends is no different than a TV show.
Way to dox me over here. Okay.
Like an episodic show on Netflix.
Yeah, but
then they just put ads in between.
No, I get it, but on TV you have to wait till 8 p.m. on TBS to watch Friends.
Yeah, a
but
scheduled viewing, a private
Right,
viewing.
right.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that the ads will be you get a free account, you can watch Netflix for free with ads?
interesting.
Or do you think that they're
Actually-
going to absolutely nuke their membership base and say, even though you're paying us for a membership, we're also going to throw ads in on top?
oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
There'd be a revolt in the streets. Netflix will just create a death spiral of unsubscribes. If I pay you to watch
Well-
Netflix and then you hit me with the ads, I don't know. You're going to lose me, dog.
I mean,
They already been
Netflix-
ratcheting up the price.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Netflix has been doing whatever it takes to pay its bills, and I feel like this is just another.
How much does
notch.
Netflix? How much does Netflix go in
$19.99.
in an incognito window? Check to see how much a Netflix subscription is. I started out. I was a
$19.99.
I was. What is it?
$19.99.
I was a $9.99 guy.
Netflix price hikes over the years. Let's see.
Oh, see, she's trying to do all this
Okay,
research.
from 2014 it started at $7.99, and
yeah,
then
I got in at $9.99.
and then today I think it's
It's $19.99.
I believe it's $19.99.
Am I grandfathered in, or am I paying $20?
I think you're paying $20.
that's a tax. That's a
So-
tax. Okay, next.
Okay, ready?
Let's do it.
So Twitter is already implementing new things to combat spam and duplicative tweets. You know who else needs to do this? YouTube. Do you see the comments on YouTube? I am like, how many fake Anthonys are there? I can't even tell them apart anymore. I don't know who you
Hey,
are.
that's fine. I'm cool with them. Whatever.
What?
Twitter. You know what Twitter's doing right now? If you said that Twitter, you just went from like taking a nap to I'm productive as hell. Elon, don't fire me. Elon, don't fire me.
think?
Elon, don't fire. Hell yeah. Elon is about to fire half the team.
You think?
He's gonna clean house. You know why?
No.
Because the team that's there, they ain't the team that's gonna get them where they need to go. You know
Yeah, but
why?
that team
Because
has
if
gotten
that
them
team was
here.
gonna do it, they would have already done it.
But that team has gotten them here.
No, it hasn't. Twitter basically has gone sideways from a stock price standpoint for the last 7 years or whatever it is, like since 2014 or something.
Okay, but let's talk about the focus on spam. That's been a really big issue.
They
that
gotta
you've
fix
been-
it.
He's been tweeting at Jack, DMing with like.
No, I never get Jack on it
Oh.
because Jack was worried about this. They run two companies, but I'm cool with Jack. Jack and I are cool. He's got the
Who
Bitcoin
are you?
stuff.
Who are you tweeting at about the
The
spam?
CEO,
Oh, the
Parag.
CEO.
I said, hey, Parag, let's go, buddy. He must not use Twitter. The CEO of Twitter must not use Twitter
Why?
because he would fix the problem if he was using Twitter because it's everywhere. There's nobody
it
on
so
Twitter
hard?
that's like, oh, this is good for the platform. There's nobody. So literally my working theory is that the CEO of Twitter does not use Twitter.
Yeah.
Because if he used Twitter, he'd get rid of the spam.
You know what else they should get rid of? The mean people on Twitter. Just
It
get rid of them all.
It literally,
take them off.
it probably would take like 2 engineers 3 days to fix this. This is the simplest
So
problem ever.
why don't they do it?
Most likely because, I don't know, 10%, 20% of all their user numbers would immediately drop. Or they would drop 10 to 20%.
Oh, you mean
active users, all that stuff, because that account counts as an active user.
Ooh, that's suspicious.
I don't want to get into all the details.
it's almost
Y'all want to know? Y'all want to know one of the biggest
Wait,
issues?
can I-
Go ahead.
Twitter's numbers
Yes.
are as deceptive as the inflation numbers. Same people might be running it.
Well, what I was going to say. See, this is why I like you.
Thank you for the-
I should keep you around. One of the reasons why this is all nonsense.
Yeah.
There's no auditing of the numbers.
Or the inflation.
The biggest issue at these companies is a lot of their valuation is derived by their user numbers. All those bots count. It's not good for the business. It's not good for investors. Get rid of them.
Yeah, but then their
Elon's
numbers,
going to go in there
their
with his
numbers
flamethrowers.
Yeah, Elon's going to go in and Twitter's like daily active user number is going to plummet and then the public
But it's going to be a private company. It's not going to matter.
Oh, that's
They're going
right.
private.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Build for the long term.
That's true.
Stop optimizing for the next quarterly earnings report. Do the right thing for the long time.
Yep.
All right, next.
All right.
All
Where
right.
are we?
Let's go,
this
Sherwin.
is my favorite.
Sherwin, let's go.
Well, it's Sherwin. This is my favorite topic. So, okay. So, people like to say that the American dream is dead, blah, 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 American dream, whatever.
Wrong.
But 70%, sorry. So according to a new Gallup, what is it called, survey?
Poll.
Yeah, 70% of US adults across race, gender, political party, and income say the American dream is still achievable. And here's a few stats to chew on from Axios. 44% of Fortune 500 companies have at least one founder who is an immigrant or the child of immigrants. I'm not a Fortune 500, but okay. Even the children of immigrants who fall in the poorest quarter of the US end up in the middle class. And 80% of America's millionaires, foreign and US born, are first generation. Wow.
All I have to say is that anybody who thinks the American dream is dead is dumb. You're dumb. Because there is no better country in the world for anyone in the world, regardless of wealth, race, religion, education status, who your parents are, who your friends, what language, none of that stuff matters. Get to the United States and you got a shot. And that's been true for decades. And it's still true today. But it has now been outsourced. You don't actually physically have to get to the United States.
True.
We work with people all around the world.
True.
In various companies. Some people are based in the Philippines. Some people are based in Nigeria. Some people are based in Ghana. Some people are based in Argentina or Venezuela or Canada or Spain or Russia or Ukraine or Saudi Arabia, etc. Anywhere in the world, you got an internet connection, you're in the game. Let's go. American dream now is at your front door.
Since
Yes.
I, as a child, moved to the United States,
Yeah.
is Sophia considered first generation?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know what the definitions are.
Because if I'm like regular generation, right?
No, you're generation zero.
Right. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you're like the Petri dish.
I don't know. People can tell me in the chat. I
right.
ask the people.
Next.
Okay. Next is
Damn, you just gave it a paywall?
No.
Yeah.
What is the next topic?
UFOs.
Oh, UFOs.
Are you good?
I can't see anything. I'm over here, the blind leading the blind.
The UFOs, were they gonna have a hearing?
So, yes, the UFOs are having a hearing.
The UFOs are having a hearing. That's interesting. I think the
House
politicians
panel,
are gonna have a
yes.
hearing about.
There's going to be a House panel that will hold the first public hearing on UFOs in decades. I wonder why in decades. This is the first time in 50 years they're doing this.
You believe in aliens?
Absolutely. I think it's very self-centered for you to think that there is nothing else out in that universe other than us. That's very selfish. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely aliens.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we're going to find them.
That was going to be a
or they're
deal
gonna
breaker
find
real
us.
quick.
Yeah, there's definitely aliens. UFOs also unidentified flying objects. Of course, those exist. People are like, well, the UFO doesn't exist. Well, like that's an unidentified flying object, so you could say it's not aliens, but it's still a UFO.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know what it is.
John said the exact same thing yesterday. Did you take that from him?
No, what did John say?
Exact same thing.
Oh, that's because John's smart. Hey, don't. Everyone thinks that like we're idiots over here. No, we're smart people.
Well,
come on.
of course, the UFO, that's like the whatever.
That's the
But-
definition of what
well,
is it.
I'm-
I don't
I'm
know what that thing
interested-
is, but it's flying around like a tic tac.
I don't care about the UFOs. I'm interested in the aliens.
Yeah, so that's the question: is are there aliens or not? I think that I forget who told me this.
Some
but,
people might call me an
Oh, you know who said it? Bruce Fenton. Bruce
Because I
Fenton
moved from
is
another
a
country.
ancient alien researcher. I know.
Not because I'm
just
an
bear
actual
with me.
alien.
Bruce Fenton, ancient alien researcher. He hit me with this idea of there's two questions that everyone asks in their life: what happens after you die?
And are we the only ones?
Are we here alone?
But
Damn, how about that gravity of the situation? Are we here alone? And what happens after you die? Ask yourself that.
So what
Let me
if
know.
what if we are the aliens to other aliens? What do you think they think of us?
You ever seen a lizard see us? A lizard, an ant, any of those little animals, a mouse,
A mice?
a mouse, a snake, any of those things. You want to know what they do? They're like, oh shit, and they run because they're like the aliens are here. It's like a Godzilla type
Do you
moment.
want to tell them about your dad moment?
No, I don't want to talk about the time that I saw a lizard on a wall and I went up to it and I was like looking at it like this.
What you doing there, little buddy?
And Polina was like, "What are you doing?" I'm just looking at this little fella right here. And she was like, "That was the most dad moment ever."
You know, this is the dad pose.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah.
looking at it like, look at this little guy right here climbing up this wall. I was trying to figure it out because he got little claws. Like, how did he
But why
climb
is
up
that
the
the
wall?
universal dad pose?
Is a contemplation moment.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Aristodes. What is his
Oh
name?
my
Aristotle.
God.
Aristotle. And me both probably stood there looking at an animal. Like, what do you think about this?
I highly.
Marcus Aurelius.
Do you guys? Oh, John has a question.
Looking like, what is going
Wait,
on?
this
Yeah,
is a
go ahead,
weird
what?
question. But do you guys?
Come on, hurry
have
up, we got 1 minute.
questions? Well, okay, I don't have an Ask Lunch Money time.
Okay, well, what's the question?
So hashtag AskLM in the comments below. Should we just ask John's question?
What is it?
or It's do aliens get citizenship?
The great question. Also, do aliens have sex?
What? It's a kid show.
It's a question. You got to start thinking about this. What do aliens eat? Do they just drink liquids or do they eat solid foods? Are they carnivores or herbivores?
Or
Herbivores, whatever it's called. But I can't pronounce words, but I got the ideas.
what are humans?
Humans, carnivores,
Omnivores.
omnivores, whatever, same thing. We are carnivores, which is an omnivore, so it's technically true. On top of that, one of the big questions about aliens is if
Yes.
they show up, one of the big questions would be, are they friendly or are they aggressive?
They're friendly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we
All
appreciate
right.
you guys today. Plano will be back tomorrow
Woo!
at 11 a.m.